Good afternoon. Welcome back to United TV. Latest Manchester United news, Manchester United transfer discussion as well. This stream is going to be a bit different from ones we've done recently because this is looking at players leaving the club and two goalkeepers gone. ZIRKZEE does look like he might be the next player to leave as well. And the ZIRKZEE interest with Juventus, that goes back. Apparently, Man United about 18 months ago turned down an offer in January from Juventus. It seems that the interest has been long-standing. Hopefully, this will actually bring money in, and I don't want to see another loan deal. But we're going to go through the stories, and to start with, we'll start with the cheapest deals. And as always, if you're new to the channel and you're a Manchester United fan, please subscribe, help us get to 1K. If you're watching in the live, we tend to be quite interactive. We go through a lot of comments as well. So if you've got comments, thoughts, questions about anything, we will cover the news stories, and then the latter part of the stream will pretty much be a QA session. So please get involved. If you've got any sort of things you want to get off your chest that maybe other channels don't address, just get them in the comments section. But we're going to cover these because these are done deals. These are players leaving the club. With Bayindir, it looks like it's going to be an option to buy, which is a bit disappointing. The only positive is that Bayindir wasn't going to feature for Man United this season anyway, so we're getting his contract off the books. And to be honest, this deal should have probably been done a year ago, I would say. So, I'm not surprised. Bayindir was pretty much not going to feature at all this season, so this is kind of Man United just getting rid of some dead wood, I think. So this is going to be the cheaper deal. So if anyone's got any thoughts on Bayindir, get them in. But I think the VITEK one is a lot more interesting at the moment because that's one where potentially something's going to happen in the future with that deal, and Man United put some significant clauses in. So we'll talk about the VITEK one with a bit more interest, I think, from a United perspective, is I think in terms of this one, I think you get not a lot of money up front, potentially goes up to about 14 million. But with VITEK, there is a significant sell-on clause of about, I think it's 35%. There is also a buyback clause, which this is not different to things that Real Madrid do. So I have seen some people talk about the VITEK deal and say it is a sale, like it has gone, but by putting it in the buyback clause, is this just like something that could be considered almost like a loan deal? Like VITEK's going to go to Middlesbrough, he's going to get a lot of game time hopefully, and maybe we can see him carry on from where he was at Bristol City, and we can see him improve. And if he improves, he's going to go up in value. And so either Middlesbrough will sell him on if a big offer comes in. Middlesbrough might keep him anyway, or Man United, if he does look like a fantastic goalkeeper, we do have Lamans, which makes it a bit tricky. Then we could have an option to try and buy him back. But the difficulty is that VITEK, as good as goalkeeper as he's been, he didn't want to be a backup goalkeeper. He wants to play first team football. So it is a difficult situation for Man United. And I'm not sure if they could have resolved it in any other way. Like, you have to look at it and say, if he wants to leave, then he's going to go. So I'll go for a few of the comments we've got on this one and say, yeah, to be honest, like, the fact we don't have to discuss Bayindir hopefully for a long time is probably a bit of a reassurance, I guess, for this one. But big up to people in the chat: Yari, Jim, Stephanie, Cody, Gaz, United I Die, as some of the legends as well. So I will try and go for people's comments. But the VITEK situation, Yari said there is also a buyback clause, first refusal, pretty much like what City did with Trafford as well. So I think in terms of this one, I'm not sure what Man United could have done. I know sometimes we're quite critical of some of the deals. I think in terms of this, if you look at the history of players leaving different clubs, then the fact that you got a buyback clause, I think, is all Man United could do really. Is so if he does suddenly become a keeper where we think actually he should be our first choice goalkeeper, then we do have the option to buy him back. But I can't see there being any other kind of resolution to this. I did say maybe about 2 months ago that if VITEK wants to be first team goalkeeper, Lamans is obviously our first choice goalkeeper. What other scenario is there? So we could force him to stay at the club, but to be honest, that's not going to really help him develop as a goalkeeper either. So it's not an ideal situation. But again, unlike Bayindir's gone because he's not good enough, and Darlow's a better option as a backup goalkeeper. It does make you think, though, the amount of goalkeepers that have gone through this club, How did we end up with Onana and Bayindir? We've let lots of better goalkeepers pass through our fingers, but this is the situation we got. So, any thoughts and comments on that one? Big up to you, Jeff, in the chat. Curtis, Danny B. So we got a lot of legends in the chat as well. So now, good morning to you from Texas, Jeff. Good to see you, my friend. So in terms of this one, I'm not sure there could have been a different resolution. Like United said, I said, yeah. I mean, Man United, like I don't think we're going to get much more money because we are just really poor at selling, and maybe having the sell on clause will mean that I mean goalkeepers don't go for crazy money, so I still can't see it being great in terms of like a sell on clause, but we'll have to see what happens. I mean, we did get a bit of extra money for so I think it was like recent players for sell-on clauses, but it doesn't tend to add up to crazy amounts of money, does it? So I think the Greenwood sell-on clause, we were hoping he'd go for big money. In the end, we got a bit of extra cash, but not loads as well. So now we're a poor selling club, but again, hopefully that improves. But I'm not seeing a lot of evidence of that improving at the moment. Big up to you, Rob. Good to see you in the chat. So in terms of this one, it brings in a little bit of money. Binder's off the books. Maybe Man United, like we got Lamans, we got Darlow as backup. Are we going to bring in another goalkeeper? I don't think we should even bother at the moment. I think Lamans are going to play almost every single game. Darlow's there as a backup, at least he's a professional goalkeeper. But I'd imagine in terms of this one, Man United should focus on the next deals. And if ZIRKZEE goes as well, which is going to be kind of the focus of most of this conversation, are Man United in a position to start? Now, it does kind of force our hand a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and say I think ZIRKZEE would have been useful to keep. Like, I don't think ZIRKZEE would have featured, even though we haven't got the biggest squad. ZIRKZEE is basically only going to get into the team under Michael Carrick if there's no other option. And we saw him come on for just a few minutes in matches just at the end, maybe to give first team players a rest as much as anything. So I don't think ZIRKZEE was featuring in Michael Carrick's plans the same way as Bayindir is going. So these players leaving, I don't think it weakens us because I don't think they're part of the plan. It does kind of give me a little bit of hope. I mean, I do still have a little bit of hope left that Man United will actually go and address some of the issues we need. We need a new strike, like a backup striker, and ZIRKZEE leaving the club, which I hope is going to happen. I think at the moment, like ZIRKZEE wants to leave. I think Man United wants ZIRKZEE to move on. I can't see a situation where ZIRKZEE stays. So I'll say this one: I can't see ZIRKZEE staying at the club. The question is going to be, and this is probably the big question, is are Man United actually going to be able to do a sale like Rasmus, where we got some decent money in? Okay, ZIRKZEE's been at the club now for a couple of years. The amount of money we're going to get from ZIRKZEE, considering transfer fees are being pretty high, I still don't think it's going to be crazy. We shouldn't be making a loss though after having him at the club for a couple of years. Can we make a profit? Is probably unlikely given Man United's ability to just not get very good value out of our players. But in terms of this one, if you've got a player like ZIRKZEE at the club, ZIRKZEE isn't really contributing much at all. How much money can Man United bring in? And is this going to be? So when I saw this, I was thinking this might well be something like Rasmus. This might well be a loan with an option obligation. I mean, an option to buy for me is a big mistake. Like ZIRKZEE is going to benefit clubs in Serie A. If he goes to Juventus, certainly he's going to be helping Juventus next season. I think loaning him out with an option that isn't an obligation, I don't want to see that happening. I mean, Man United, we don't seem to be able to exploit the loan market for our own benefit. So why should we loan him out and help Juventus? Like we loaned out Rasmus. I mean, Rasmus must have helped his team get top four because they qualified for the Champions League. That became a permanent move. But I don't think we should be doing the same thing. Like Juventus have wanted ZIRKZEE for, I think, at least 18 months. Man United apparently we turned down an offer for him, which is crazy considering he wasn't doing much a year ago either. So if Juventus are serious and they want to get this player in, we've got to make sure that they need a player as well. They need some cover. I think United should be looking to try and make this a permanent deal. But if it's a loan deal, it's got to be an obligation. Like it's got to be. Otherwise, what we're doing here, we're just going to be loaning out one player per year to help someone else. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But in terms of this, the stories that we're talking about this saying that Juventus ready to do a deal, and it looks like I suppose that they're in talks at the moment. I don't think Man United are going to be asking for a lot of money either. So I can't see I can't see this being a deal that doesn't happen really. I mean, does anybody think Xerxes is going to be at the club next season? I know sometimes people on different channels or different platforms they like Xerxes. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about Xerxes. I think he's trying his best. I just don't think it's good enough for what we need. And I don't think another Premier League club is going to be interested in what Xerxes has to offer based on what they've seen over the last 2 years. Either he largely comes on for the last sort of 5-10 minutes of a match. Just he's quite good in possession, but he just doesn't offer anything going forward. And I think that's the problem that Manchester United, we can't really carry too many passengers in our team. We need to make sure any player that comes off the bench and as an attacking player, they've got to carry a goal threat. Otherwise, what we're doing here as a club. But apparently, when I saw this, I'm not massively happy that Man United are preparing or ready to accept a loan deal because as soon as I saw that, I'm guessing this is going to be a loan deal of some sort. The question is going to be, are we going to be able to put in a pretty cast iron option or obligation that should be obligation to buy? Because we saw the obligation to buy with Sancho, and we saw that didn't work. And then we've seen the obligation to buy with Rasmus, and maybe we got lucky with Rasmus because with Rasmus it depended on their club actually getting Champions League football. The fact they managed to do that is great, but it was still a bit of a risky clause to put in. Cody says, I think Xerxes is as good as out. It's a matter of formality, in your opinion. And yeah, this does lead to the follow up question as what can we get for him? Um, and Ryan says he's just not a Premier League player. It's just like it's a bit like if you look at some players that have gone, it's a bit like saying with Anthony. Anthony went to Real Betis. He just looked like a different player, didn't he? He looked like a different player. But when you saw Real Betis play against Chelsea and Cucurella completely pocketed him, took him out of the game, you can see that at lower level quality opposition, they're going to look good. And Xerxes wasn't he Player of the Year in Serie A before he joined Man United? So he was one of the highly rated players, and he's still rated. To be honest, I think Man United might have even got a better deal than anything we get for Xerxes now. If we just sold him back straight away, like a year ago, and I don't know why we're keeping players longer than we need. I mean, after the first year, I think we saw enough, didn't we? I think we knew it wasn't going to be working out. And I don't know why we didn't try and do a deal this January either, because he wasn't going to be featuring in Michael Carrick's team. You can see this. Michael Carrick would rather push Cunha and Buemo out of their natural positions into a striker role than put Xerxes there. He just doesn't carry a goal threat. That's the problem. Yannis says 4 options for Xerxes. So you've got loan with option, which is my actually based on your 4 options, it's my second least favourite. Loan with obligation, I think for me is the most likely. And if I was a betting man like Tonali, I'd be putting some money on Manchester United sell with obligation. Hopefully that's what's going to happen. Full sale, I don't know because Man United haven't done this for ages, and we haven't managed to sell players for. I mean, I'm trying to think when was the last time we did actually sell somebody, and it might be Wan-Bissaka and McTominay, and we didn't exactly get crazy money for those 2 players. So, in terms of like selling a player on straight away, I don't know why we have to keep doing these loan deals. I mean, Juventus are not broke; they'll be spending money on players, so I don't know why we keep doing these loan deals. But anyway, loan of obligation or full sale for me, either one of those is absolutely fine. And for me, this is kind of a necessary thing, isn't it? You need to get rid of some dead wood. You need to replace this. Um, so that Rosenberg goal adds 5 million. To be honest, if he does well in pre-season, this is perfect. There were a few people saying that don't play him in pre-season because with every performance he literally devalues himself. But I'm not going to say anything negative about Xerxes. Biucci Mark says wanted to wait until the end of the window before saying anything, but it's clear the club doesn't know what it's doing. Oh, you wanted to wait? Yeah. To be honest, I've kind of I hit the wall a little bit when Manchester United didn't buy Matheus Fernandes, and it wasn't that I really. I thought Matheus Fernandes was a good option, but as soon as we missed out on on Fernandes, and you see Tonali going to Arsenal, and you see Tonali, sorry, Bruno Guimaraes going to Arsenal, Tonali, Anderson. All these midfielders are changing hands, and Man United are we're kind of like doing budget deals, and it's it's a bit concerning. And when we see stories saying that oh, Mason Mount's doing really well. Go. That's absolutely fine. But Mason Mount was at the club for the last 2 seasons, and I don't recall him having an amazing impact on our seasons. I think we need to be looking at what options have we got, and the depth at the moment. If you look at it, if Kobe Mainu and Tielemans are injured, we're pretty much suddenly starting to look at academy players as being people that are going to start playing minutes as well. And maybe Mason Mount can do something next season, but I think it's crazy to rely on him. We still haven't replaced Christian Eriksen. And in terms of midfield players at the moment, I did see a few people saying that they think we've got as much depth as we had a year ago. But Toby Collier has been told he can leave this summer. Then you look at Casemiro being sold, and Agate, I think, is going to be injured for most of the season. That's effectively minus 3 players. And if you look at it, okay, I know Collier got loaned last season in January, but Man United, we didn't have loads of games left to go. But this season, we've got a lot more fixtures, and we're going to be lining up with Santos, Tielemans, Kobe Mainu, and hoping that these players don't get injured. And I think we need to get more options in. I don't consider academy players that might feature as being they're not an alternative to players being signed. For me, that is not great business as well. But Mark, I think at the moment, I know there's a bit of time to go in the window, but I think a few people are looking at the same sort of thing. And I don't know, I think it's when people say they're going to judge the transfer window at the end of the when it finishes. That's obviously sensible and fair. But I think in terms of like Man United's speed in doing deals over the last 4 or 5 years, I think it's reasonable to say where now it's the 5th of August. Things need to start happening pretty soon, like very soon, because we're already starting to see an impact where preseason matches are coming quite quickly. Man United are effectively not getting any sort of preseason minutes into potential targets that we haven't gone for. And it's going to mean that Michael Carrick will effectively have to do kind of gradually introduce them over matches at the start of the season. They won't be ready. So it is a bit of a frustration that I do share as well. I'm not going to say that the season's finished already, but what I'm saying is we need to be making sure that Michael Carrick gets effectively backed. That when the transfer window is shut, if Man United fans, as general, like now, if myself and people watching today, if you look at the transfer window when it's finished and go, actually, Michael Carrick's been well backed, I think that's all we can ask for. At the moment, though, if the transfer window is shut tonight, I'd be looking at it thinking, this is dreadful. Like we've literally replaced like for like, and the games have gone. The amount of games is a lot higher, a lot higher. So, um, as Danny B said, yeah, at the moment the window is it's the bare minimum. At the moment, Agate and Casemiro are injured. Are Tillemans and Santos going to be better players over the whole season? We don't even know this. We can't really judge. We can't really look at a couple of preseason games and say, great, we're going to be amazing. We don't know that. Until you start playing competitive games, you're not really going to get much information. And now Atletico Madrid, decent Spanish team, but compared with the Premier League and the strength and depth of this one, for me, they're like a mid-table Premier League team. I think it's going to be interesting how things go, and maybe it goes a lot better than we think. But at the moment, I'm looking at it thinking Tielemans and Santos. There's nothing wrong with those signings individually, but where's the ambition from Man United's owners that we just finished third in the Premier League? We're back in the Champions League in the new format. It's the first time we've been in this format, and it's a lot more games. And even if Man United do okay in the 8 group games in the Champions League, they're going to play two playoff games before you get to knockout stage. So this is just way more games. And we saw what happened with Newcastle, that they struggled massively with the extra games and finished really poorly. Gaz says 2 out of 10 with the goalkeeper outgoings. I mean, I'm pretty sure, Gaz, that's not related to Bayindir. But I think Bayindir going is probably 1 point. Maybe you deduct a couple of points for VITEK going, but I think VITEK kind of forced Man United's hand, and I don't know what else United could have done in this one. I mean, Man United can't really force VITEK to stay as a backup goalkeeper, can they? I mean, they can, but Vitek's not going to develop by watching football from the bench. So I think Man United with Vitek, I think they put the buyback clause in there as an insurance policy. But I mean, if Lamans is going to be getting better year on year, then he's going to be locking down that goalkeeper position anyway. So for me, it's difficult, isn't it? I don't think you can have two really good goalkeepers at a club unless one goalkeeper is just genuinely happy to be a backup at this point in time. I mean, what I'm kind of hoping for with the goalkeeper situation is I don't know how good Lamans is going to be, but if you have a goalkeeper that can reach anywhere near the heights that Peter Schmeichel or Van der Sar or say David De Gea when he was on top form, if you can get a goalkeeper that plays that well, then the backup goalkeeper is literally just going to be few games when maybe your first team goalkeeper needs a bit of a break or has a knock or something, or just to rotate, just to keep things fresh a bit. But no, I don't think that you'd be expecting your backup goalkeeper to be. I mean, some clubs have got a very good backup goalkeeper. We were very lucky to have Romero for a few years as a backup goalkeeper. But I think in reality, you're going to be getting second tier goalkeepers for backups. And I think Vitek might just be too good. So best case scenario for Man United, I guess, is Lamans just kicks on and we don't think about the goalkeepers that are left. If Vitek has a great season and someone else comes in for him, maybe that transfer fee goes up and we get more from the salon, possibly. So, big up to you, Tyrone. I'm pretty good, Tyrone. I'm pretty good. I'm trying to be quite calm as a Man United fan, which is bit difficult because Ineos don't exactly give you much to work with, do they? In terms of trying to find positivity, it's a bit like scraping in the desert trying to find some water. I don't think there's a lot out there at the moment. And I have found as well that when I'm trying to look for Man United news, no one knows anything. So I did see a stream. I won't mention the channel, but I've seen a few people this morning just posting things with like Man United are going to buy this player or this player. At the moment, we see no indication that Man United are going to go for a third midfielder. And I saw a comment from Bilal saying we need a third midfielder. We 100% need a third midfielder, and I don't think we're going to be seeing any sort of rush deals happening. So I get the feeling that the third midfielder is going to be can we possibly get Camavinga? Can we get too many? If not, are we going to try and get Belieber? And it feels a bit like we did this. Didn't we play this game last year? Didn't we go for the transfer window? Everybody says we need a midfielder. Last week of the transfer window, we try and get Belieber from Brighton. Brighton, like, we're not going to sell now. And is it going to be the same situation? If Man United knock on the door at Brighton with a week to go in the transfer window and go, actually, we'd like Belieber now, Brighton are going to think, right, well, we got no time to get players in to replace him, so it's going to cost you more. It's going to the price is going to be high, and Man United will have a choice then. Do we just do the same thing we did last year and go, okay, right, we don't want to buy Conor Gallagher either, so we'll just end up with no midfielder. Because if we do that, and I know I saw a stream last night, Jules and G Wolf are doing a good stream, but I do think there's a risk of missing out if you leave it too late. I know that they were quite optimistic and they said, Man United will do a deal. But if you leave it very late in the window, your options are panic buy deals that are not ideal, and the top targets will be long gone. Like I can't think of any scenario where the best deals have been done at the end of the transfer window. That for me just does not make a lot of sense. Yeah, I do agree with you as well. That I saw something this yesterday, and it was how much money does Man United spend per year on average when they get top four, and how much money does Man United spend when they miss out on top four? And the difference is like staggering. Man United spend almost double when they miss out on Champions League football, and when they secure Champions League football, and you want to build on your investments, you want to push towards trying to win a trophy. That's when Man United put they kind of don't put their hands in their pocket. They look for the cheapest option possible. And it seems like their plan is like, great, let's just try and get top four again. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, it feels like we're at Arsenal under Arsene Wenger. And I hate the phrase top four because it's starting to make me feel like, is this the ambition of like, this is the, when people say fans are to blame, fans are not to blame. I don't know a single Man United fan in real life or YouTube, social media that is going to be going, great, let's get top four again. Like that is not a target. That is, I was thinking this morning, Ineos have been in charge for about 2.5 years or nearly 3 years. and we finished 8th, we finished 15th, and we finished 3rd. And take out the 3rd position, 8th and 15th is the worst two finishes in Manchester United's Premier League history. So going back to 1992, 1993, it's the two worst finishes apart from the 3rd. And the 3rd would actually be equal with Alex Ferguson's worst ever finish. So this is kind of the standard at the moment. So finishing like 3rd or 4th would still represent one of like poor performance for a team with Man United's kind of financial power and the history of the club. So I can see people saying we need to move, like sort of, we need to like be patient. But how much more patience can we have? I mean, this is ridiculous. This isn't the 80s. This is the 80s where Man United haven't won a trophy. We got the highest turnover. We've had the capacity to build on, and we just haven't done it. Um, so let me go through a few comments and go through the. Thank you, Bilal, for being a member for 3 months. And it said if they're not spending, then you're saying what's another. I'm not sure what you're saying in this one. Saying if they're not going to be spending, you don't do. So what's this delay? I can't understand. Actually, if you could rephrase that, I can't really understand. But if you're saying like if Man United delay it, that we're just going to end up spending more, aren't we? Jeff says, till they put on the shirt at Carrington, it's all speculation, and says, yes, Rich, we'll panic buy when we lose 2 of the first 3, and say, you hope not. But do you know what the thing is? I've said this a few times. I do not trust Ineos at all. And what we're seeing here is that it's the same. It feels like the same pattern over and over again. It feels a bit like I'm watching, like, I know Man United mess up part 7, and we're going, okay, let's see what happens. I mean, it feels like we know the story. We're going, right, we need to get these deals done before the end of the window, and then the last week of the season, we're going to do some sort of panic buy. And to be honest, we could probably all pick a midfielder, and we have no idea who it's going to be. And what if Man United don't sign a midfielder and then we have to listen to some sort of bullshit PR where they go, actually, Thwaites looks like he's good enough for the first team? Can you imagine Man United going, I'm trying to think who we'd have coming through the academy when we signed Dwight York and Yap Stam. But can you imagine Man United saying, oh, don't worry, we're not going to sign Dwight York because if we sign Dwight York, we're in a danger of winning too much and raising expectations too high. So maybe we'll just look in the academy and do deals like that. Now, Man United in the past used to go, look, there's an opportunity to win something here. Let's buy those players in, make it happen as well. But big up to Jeff and Bilal. Thank you for the super chats. Bilal says some channels put all the blame on the fans. I mean, like we're the fans, aren't we? Like how can we blame each other? Like that it's not. I think most people would say we want to see Man United fans. Like I guess with this one, how is a Man United fan to blame for the decision making process of Ineos? Like Ineos essentially have the say now of which players we sign and how much money we pay for players. And what we're seeing is most transfers cost more than we thought. Bruno Guimaraes, £75 million, and I think he might have been sort of similar age to Casemiro when we bought Casemiro. So all it shows to me is, if anything, the market is just continually getting more expensive. Like Casemiro was considered quite a lot of money for his age about 4 years ago. It's just costing a bit more now. So Bruno Guimaraes is going for 75 million. It's probably a good deal for Newcastle. It's probably not a bad deal for Arsenal because Arsenal are at a different stage. It's a bit like Man United getting Dwight York. It was a decent deal for Aston Villa. They got good money for a player that's maybe got 2 or 3 years left at most. And for Man United, it was a good deal because they carried on winning. And I think for Arsenal, if they can win, if Bruno Guimaraes goes into Arsenal's team and they win another Premier League title, which let's be honest, Arsenal are strengthening. So other teams are strengthening, but Arsenal will still be in a good position. If he wins Arsenal the Premier League title next season, Arsenal get more in prize money. Arsenal get more players looking at them as a viable option and a serial winner rather than a one-off winner. And if he can help them push into Europe as well and try and get over the line there, it's going to be money well spent. Arsenal will just get the money from the success and the process will repeat. And this is kind of the scenario I want to see Man United in. But it's one thing getting to the Champions League, But for me, getting into the Champions League is like phase one. Like you've got Champions League football, great. Can we win the Champions League? Probably not. Can we get past the group stage? We should be able to. And the question for me is going to be, can we make sure that not? I don't want to see like top four as a target, but can we make sure we don't fall down the league again? And the best way of doing that is to try and push to win the Premier League title. And we've seen like teams that are geared up towards trying to win the title, like Liverpool. You have a bit of a poor season. Worst case scenario, you finish fourth or fifth. And I want fourth or fifth to be like a disaster season for Man United. Like if we finish fifth, I want fans to be right. That's pretty poor. Let's regroup, try and win the title. But I think at the moment, I know it's kind of like an easy target to blame other fans. I just think it's a bit too divisive. Like I think every single fan I know wants pretty much the same thing. We just kind of hit the wall at different points. I think so. For me, I was pretty optimistic a lot of the window. I genuinely kind of hit the wall a little bit, and so I apologize for if I'm getting a bit angry and frustrated. It's just annoying, isn't it? Because every time we look at deals, and I look at information trying to find out stories to keep things fresh and talk about different things, and all I'm seeing is Liverpool bid for this player, Arsenal try and get this player, and I'm just seeing other teams do more and more deals. And BHG Blow says, why don't we look at the loan market? Okay, no worries about that one. But and so you couldn't fit in the members chat. This is a really good point. And I was saying, why do Manchester United every single season we look to like we give Aston Villa Rashford for half a season, then he goes to Barcelona, and I'm not saying Rashford was the reason, but Barcelona lift the title. We see Aston Villa have a good season as well, finishing the Champions League and doing quite well in Europe. And what we're seeing here is that Man United, we're happy to loan out Rasmus so that a team in Serie A can get top four. We're happy to loan Anthony to Real Betis so they can benefit from Anthony actually finding a level he can play at. And at the moment, okay, admittedly we loan Sancho out, but no one wants him. And it feels a bit like we're happy to loan players out. Why the hell don't we get players loaned in? Like, why don't we get some players in on loan? Like, surely, if Man United aren't going to buy a left back, and at the moment, it does seem 50-50. I don't know if we are going to get a left back. We should do, but I don't know if we are going to. And looking at this one, like Bilal says, why not loan players in? If there's players in around Europe that teams are looking at, maybe some players that are on decent salaries and teams are looking to offload them. But if they can fit in what Man United needs, they can add to our squad. And maybe what they can do is, and again, not just left backs. What if there's strikers out there that Man United can loan in, play the contract of, have significant competition for Sesko, a good backup as well. Centre backs, there's got to be some options out there as well. Like I can't believe there isn't some loan options that can benefit our squad. Like for me, it seems crazy but we'll have to see. Maybe we'll be looking at this one as well. Maybe we'll be and Bilal. Maybe Man United will look at loan deals as a backup option, and that will be our kind of maybe it's going to be an alternative to a panic buy. If we don't get a deal done late in the window, maybe we do like a panic loan. Maybe we just try and maybe that's going to be something that happens. So I think options are available, aren't they? But most people would say the best case scenario is going to be get your business done early in the transfer window, give Michael Carrick a good preseason. That's all we want. Like I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, if you don't sign Lewis Hall, it's a disaster. If you don't sign Lewis Hall, sign another good left back. There's lots of left backs available. If you're not going to sign, say, some certain midfielders, there's other midfielders available. Just pick one and just get these players done, get these deals done early in the window. And for centre back options, I think we've known for years that we need to look at centre back. Lisandro Martinez has been injury prone pretty much since he signed for Man United. Good if he's available. Maguire's good if he's available. De Ligt's good if he's available. But unfortunately, because you have to keep saying if they're available, it equates to 3 first choice centre backs. But in reality, we'll be lucky to get more than like 25 games out of each player. So it's going to be a bit disappointing. Jim says you don't like the reports of us not getting a third midfielder. Now, when I saw that, Jim, honestly, I was thinking last time Man United were in Europe, we had Christian Eriksen. He's gone. Toby Collier is going to be allowed to go. That's another player. Casemiro's left the club and Agathi's injured. So last time we were in Europe, we had 4 more midfield options, like 4 more. And at the moment, we brought 2 in. So when people are posting information on online and saying, we've got the same depth or we've made improvements. How have we made improvements? We've got literally no more depth. Like there is no more depth at the club than there was 2 years ago. And we're going to have to try and manage a lot more games. Like I know there's like still 3 weeks to go in the transfer window. If the transfer window ended tonight though, I think Michael Carrick would have a big job in trying to manage the squad over 2 games a week. Like Luke Shaw, he's not going to play 2 games a week. Are we going to be expecting Komeni to play 2 games a week? I mean, he does kind of get knocks as well. Tielemans, is he going to be effective 2 games a week? He did miss a few games last season. And centre backs like Maguire, I don't know. There's just too many players that can't manage 2 games a week. So I don't know. It's a bit frustrating. I'll say I'm not going to mention the channels, Yarly, because I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on other YouTube channels as well. But it is like other people can like answer the question, but there are a lot of channels that do blame a lot of fans and say fans need to demand more. I think fans do demand more, but let's be honest, like it's the same as Arsenal fans that are angry about what was happening with their club until recently. Liverpool fans are always complaining as well, despite the club actually spending a lot of money. So I think it is going to be a divisive thing as well. Um, United So Dice says this club is a brand, nothing more, and we have not had ambitious people at the top in years. I think as soon as you start looking at people that run the club wanting to get, did I read Rob's member chat? Let me check. Let me try and so I can't see all the live chat for some reason, but I will. Cheers, Bilal. I will try and go for that one. Let's see where that is. Um, why is it not showing up? Sometimes YouTube's a bit messed up, but if I can find. Big up to you, Rob. Thank you for renewing your membership, Rob. YouTube is like not helping me today. So if we don't free the moths, Carrick will fail. I agree. It seems like the most secure thing at Old Trafford is the purse strings of the Glazers, and Ineos are not doing a lot to loosen them, unfortunately. Big up to you, Rob. I think this is a worrying concern as well. I don't think most fans I know and I speak to, I don't think any of us have said, let's throw crazy money at players. I think we're just looking at this and just saying, like, all we're asking for is a sensible transfer window. Like, nobody's saying if we don't get Anderson, it's a disaster. There was lots of other options available, and I think that I did kind of joke at the start of the transfer window and said we're going to sign 3 midfielders, and we will be happy eventually. That's what I thought. I genuinely thought we were going to be doing something similar to what we did last season, and I thought Ruben Amorim got backed quite well in the transfer window, spending over a couple 100 million, getting in very good players. Lamens Cunha, Sesko, and Bremo were good signings. And I thought, right, if we get players of the same sort of quality, but get maybe 3 in midfield and a left back, we can loan a centre back if needed be. But I thought if we got 4 good signings like that impact our first team, I thought it would be good. And I thought it would make a big difference to our squad. And be it to you, Niall. No, exactly the opposite, actually. Some certain fan channels, which I won't mention, are basically saying that fans are um, fans need to demand more, and I think fans do demand more. And at the moment, the way I would look at Man United being run as a club, it looks a little bit like somebody that's bought a business and they want to asset strip it to sell. That it looks like Man United want to just improve the only improvements I can see to the club at the moment are of a financial nature in a spreadsheet. And Manchester United's operating costs are being lowered, the salaries of players are being lowered, and the fans' expectations, I think they're trying to lower them, but I don't think it's going to work for some of us. And I think what we're seeing here is asset stripping. The club will look more profitable. This might be a definite angle to maybe get some investment into the club. I think Manchester United want to get investment into the club, and it will come to a point where they have to make some decisions regarding how they're going to pay for the new stadium. Are they looking at naming rights? Are they looking at other sort of things? So I do get the feeling that Man United are they're effectively doing what Spurs did a few years ago. The question is going to be Spurs are having like a big spend now, spending a lot of money on players, but they've done that after doing the stadium. Like they did the stadium first. Are Man United trying to do exactly what Arsenal did? I mean, this isn't anything new, is it? We saw Arsenal didn't spend when they're building a stadium. We saw Spurs not really spending or running their wage bill very low as they built a new stadium. And are Man United doing the same sort of thing? If they are, then you could say, okay, maybe in like 5 or 6 years we're in a really good position. But that's a long time to wait for Man United fans, isn't it? 5 years of essentially hoping we scrape top four. I mean, this isn't kind of what Man United fans are should be expecting. And I feel sorry for season ticket holders that when as soon as they get a new stadium, every single stadium is seeing the same thing. The price of tickets is going to go absolutely through the roof. So if you're looking at if you're a season ticket holder at Manchester United, you're going to be completely screwed in 5 years' time unless you want to pay a fortune to go and watch them. I mean, some of us have already been priced out, unfortunately. It's just a bit annoying. Um, Nikki says, if ZIRKZEE goes on loan, do you think we get a striker? So, Nikki, this is my hope. If Manchester United are serious about at least giving Carrick a fighting chance, like there is no way that this is kind of where you have to question, right? Are Man United preparing effectively for to try and get the as best as they can in the Champions League, as best as they can in the Premier League? And are you going to give Michael Carrick enough options? Like Xerxes has to be replaced. Like the squad is nowhere near good enough. If Xerxes goes out on loan, I think we have to get a striker. I mean, I've said this multiple times. I didn't really consider Xerxes as an effective striker, but I think at this point in time, if he goes out of the club, Man United certainly need to get a player in, certainly someone that carries more goal threat than Xerxes. And I don't know who we'd be going for. I'm not sure how much we'd be willing to spend. If he goes out on loan, though, I mean, it doesn't bring any money in. So the question it makes you think is like, would Man United look to try and get some sort of loan deal in? Like, what would we be looking? Almac says, if we aren't trying to win, then why not get rid of the old players and rebuild with young European talent? And say the halfway house doesn't work for anyone. Do you think that we're generally, I would say as a rule, if you look at the majority of signings, I think the majority of signings are young. Like if you look at it, like most of the signings we're looking at are quite young. Santos is quite young. You've got okay, Tillemans obviously isn't, but he's still younger than Casemiro. Collier is going to be loaned out. But if you look at the players coming in, Aiden Heaven, Lamans, Yoro, Dorgu, I think Sesko as well. Most of the signings we've made recently are younger. Like the average age of the squad, I think, is going down. If you consider that maybe someone like JJ Gabriel, Thwaites, Fletcher, maybe some of those players play a few more minutes, I think overall our playing squad will get a bit younger over the next couple of years. And but I don't think it's really a halfway house. I think with someone like Tielemans, you've got to get some experience into the squad. Like we're not going to go full Chelsea. And if anything, Chelsea did one extreme, then they suddenly like went. And I think what we're seeing here is that Chelsea got it wrong with going for nothing but younger players. Like you need to have some balance. And in the same way as like Man United's approach of getting too many players that were towards the end of their career, and less effectiveness did not work either. You just need to do some sensible deals. And to be honest, like Man United are in a bit of a state where the players leaving the club because the contract expires do have the experience, and Man United aren't able to spend the sort of money that's required to get that experience. That to get someone like with Tillemans' experience, maybe a higher level player, you'd have to spend £75 million, wouldn't you, on Bruno Guimaraes? So in a way, if Man United get Tillemans for 35, it should probably be considered quite a good deal overall, considering how much money it's costing to get Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, we'll have to see how that works out, but it's a bit frustrating, isn't it? Just for people watching, I know if there's any new people in the chat, I'm not normally ranty. Hopefully, I'm trying to come across as balanced, but I'm being tested a lot as well. Katie's saying, spring another surprise, come on, Man United. I mean, at the moment, I think Santos and Tielemans, if you can find a YouTube channel that was saying like Santos and Tielemans are going to be part of our midfield rebuild in June, then fair play. They must have just got lucky, but there hasn't been a lot of information coming out. So I think in terms of like what's the potential third signing, I generally have no idea what's going to be happening as well. United Dice says didn't buy a proper first team option left back, went out on Dorgu. And so yeah, with Dorgu, I think Dorgu was just Dorgu was versatile, wasn't he? And I think he ticked a lot of boxes. I don't even think Xerxes was signed as a left back. I think Xerxes was signed as like a player that because Xerxes played left back and played left wing. I think Man United saw this as an option. Like, let's get someone in that might be effective as a wing back. His salary demands were incredibly low. I think he got paid like 30K a week or something crazy. And maybe that was their way of trying to like say, okay, we've given like Ruben Amorim someone that can be this one. I don't know. United Dice says there's nothing wrong with being pessimistic. I know I might be on the whiskey and ice cream soon, although I think it might be a little bit early for that, like quarters to. Um, Cody says article you got here say Manchester United closing in on agreement for Xerxes to join Juventus on loan with option to buy for £28 million. So if anyone knows off the top of their head how much money Xerxes cost when we signed him in terms of like millions of pounds, I think there would have been add-ons. The price was probably quoted in euros to start with, but I'm pretty sure I'd be very surprised if any add-ons have been added on. I mean, if the add-ons were walk around midfield, make three passes or something, then the add-ons would have been completed. But if Xerxes had to score a decent amount of goals, I can't imagine the add-ons were on, unless we're well. There is a chance, actually. I suppose we did get Champions League football, so I think that was a factor in the Bremo add-ons. But I can't imagine Xerxes add-ons got yeah taken off. But we'll have to see. We got this one. 35 million euro. Okay, 35 million. I was going to guess 35 million. And I was thinking 35 million euros. That's probably off the top of my head. That must be kind of close to about 30 million pounds, isn't it? So if we're going to be, and again, I guess like, I think your sources are generally pretty good, Cody. So if you're going to be saying that we're effectively we're getting what we paid for Xerxes, aren't we? So if that's going to be was that an option or an obligation? If it's an option, then I don't know. Yeah, no, inflation has not hit Man United, has it? It's hit us in one way, like the amount of money we have to spend to get players. But no, so it looks like Xerxes might be the next exit. I think that would be no surprise to Man United fans that he's not part of Michael Carrick's plans. Juventus have wanted him for ages. It just makes sense to cash in at this point. So if it's £28 million, then effectively the good thing about this one, and the only positive I can see in the Xerxes scenario is at least Man United didn't spend £80 million on Xerxes. At least we didn't give Xerxes a 250K a week contract. So that's the only positive. It was a poor signing overall. I think Xerxes, uh, he might have had a lot better career over the last couple of seasons if he'd stayed in Italy, and maybe he would have been in the World Cup. But no. So Brighton have informed United that Belieber is worth 100 million. United moved on. I think they have moved on. I mean, is there any sort of chance Man United might try and get some sort of deal for Belieber later on in the window? I would not be surprised. Cody says Xerxes was 36.5 million. Yeah, it was roughly about that, wasn't it? I was thinking it was about 35 million. 28 million pounds to get back from him. I think it was like 36 million euros, wasn't he? So that the price is always quoted in euros for Man United signings. BLT Tyrone says, get rid of Xerxes, swap him for Conceição. I'd be over the moon if we could do that. I mean, to be honest, with this one, I think there's definitely the positive I've got regarding Xerxes leaving is, like, for one, I got nothing against Xerxes. He seems like a good guy. He came in, tried his best. It just wasn't good enough. I think the problem is, I think most fans realised Xerxes wasn't good enough a year ago, and keeping at the club, and he's barely made any contribution at the last 12 months. I think it's just wasted a year of his career. And I think Man United should have realised like 2 years is a long time in football. If you know a player's not good enough, like it's like Ugarte. Like we knew Ugarte wasn't good enough after year one. We knew Bayindir wasn't good enough. We knew Anana wasn't good enough. We just need to be quicker at moving these players on. Like they're just not good enough. And maybe with Xerxes, we could have sold him a year ago. We didn't for some unknown reason. But maybe Tyrone Maybe we get lucky, Tyrone. Maybe you'll get something like this one as well. I don't know if he did his best. I'm being. I don't know. I mean, maybe that was his best. The thing is with Xerxes, I've never seen a game where I thought, "Wow, what a player!" So I can only assume that the performances he was putting in was what all he was capable of. I mean, he looked like he was just a bit slow. Thought, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out. He seems to have a decent attitude. The only thing I got though, Ryan, with this one is, didn't we know this a year ago? Like we knew Xerxes wasn't good enough a year ago. We knew Anana wasn't good enough a year ago. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I think the problem is, why does it just take so long for Man United to realise it doesn't hasn't worked out? I mean, when a player works out, like Bruno Fernandes, you sign Bruno first sort of 4 or 5 games, unreal, like a massive upgrade. And you look at maybe the impact of Mbeumo and Cunha, you can just see what they're bringing to the team, can't you? And with people like Xerxes, you just look at it and go, I just can't understand why. Yeah, this is kind of one of my frustrating things that, and maybe in the future, okay, we haven't signed Santos and Tillemans to move them on because we know what they're about. But if you're going to sign some deals, at least do deals like Lamans, and at least with Xerxes, if you're going to pay 35 million euros for a player, yeah, it's not a problem, is it? Like you're going to be able to move those players on and not make a significant loss. So I do get the like thing. Maybe with maybe Gaz, maybe the problem was Nana was just too expensive, and Man United didn't want to make a loss. So hopefully we learnt some lessons from that one as well. Um, yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, I think Stevie Wonder could have watched Man United and told you like half the team wasn't good enough as well. Um, I don't know what they're trying. Honestly, sometimes I look at it and say, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know what Ineos are looking at. Like they must be looking at thinking, let's keep Xerxes as a backup option. And I think sometimes the players stay a bit too long. And the reason why we got Luke Shaw, say, trying to think, Casemiro, or players that maybe stay a bit too long, and maybe the obvious example at the moment was Onana and Xerxes. I think it's because Man United just can't get replacements in because we just can't sign players. We end up keeping the other players a bit too long. Um, I say, good thing is some corn loans. I mean, Man United must be one of the worst selling clubs. Question for like, if anybody knows where did Xerxes play for before? Honestly I can't remember. I can't remember where he played, Bilal. I've kind of my mind's gone a bit blank. But if anyone knows where Xerxes played, like who do we give 35 million for Xerxes for? Um, yeah, to be honest, this is the one game where this is like a collector's item. If you've got a Venn diagram of games where Binder played well and games where Xerxes played well, this is the only game you would mention. Arsenal in the was it? I can't remember what stage it was, but it's the FA Cup match, and he looked like Xerxes was like driving the ball forward through midfield. He was nutmegging Arsenal players. Bayern just saved a penalty. I mean, Man United put in a quality performance in this one, and where was that though? Where was that performance in every single other match? Every other match, it looked like he came on. It looked like I don't know. It looked like I'd dragged somebody out of the comment section and gone, right, you're a Man United player now, and pushed them onto the pitch. So I don't know. I don't know. Legend Claude, what do you do with milk in the fridge when it goes off? You throw it out. Yeah, exactly. I think Anana. I think he went off like quite quickly. To be honest, I think as soon as Man United got eliminated from the Champions League, Anana should have been out of the club as well. Was it Bologna? Like that does ring a bell a little bit as well. And Tyrone says players might put in 100% next season because they'll be on TV with Big Brother at United. I mean, Manchester United is the most scrutinised club in the world, isn't it? So you'd have to look at it and say, I don't know. The thing is, Tyrone, being as generous as possible, okay, if Manchester United, if Bayern did put in 100% effort and Onana put in 100% effort, and ZIRKZEE put in 100% effort, I don't think it's still enough, is it? Like it's not enough. You've got to have some sort of quality to you. But no, that should be. I don't want to turn into Roy Keane and say that's their job. I mean, it is their job, isn't it? If you get paid, I know 100, 150k a week. I mean, at least you can run around for 90 minutes. It's not too much to ask, is it? But at least put in a bit of effort. Um, it seems that it is a bit too much for some people, though. So let me go for a few chat. Big up to you in the chat, Vincent. Good to see you. So you're grateful for his time at United, but it was never United player. Wasn't good enough from day one. So yeah, I'm trying to think. He got a good goal or two, but unfortunately, that is a goal or two, isn't it? Is that one? I mean, to say second gear is being generous, Tyrone. I think sometimes he looked like he was in like neutral. Um, I'll big up to you, Gregory. Good to see you, my friend. So missing the start of the stream. No worries, Nikki. The start of the stream was more about the goalkeepers and Binder and Vitek, and the main bit has been, I think, with ZIRKZEE. Then, in terms of it, is it agreed? I think the most up to date information we saw was a post by Cody actually saying that I can't remember which the source is, but it looks a bit like it's going to be a done deal. It looks like this will be something that's going to be about £28 million coming in for ZIRKZEE, it appears. But it looks like it's going to be like a loan. It's an optional obligation. I can't remember. Yeah, don't worry, Yali. We will do the panic stream when the transfer window closes as well. And no, I think at Atalanta we did some other deals as well. You're never forgiven for his blunders. Yeah, Bindier. Do you know what? Covering the preseason match, Manchester United versus Everton, I've never known a goalkeeper that looks genuinely terrified facing I think it was like facing a free kick from Ghana about 40 yards out. He just looked so scared. Yeah, I don't know. So no, if anyone's got any questions, I'm going to wrap up the stream in a few minutes. If anyone's got any questions, please get them in now. If you missed the stream, then it looks like it's going to be a loan with option as well. And so all you want for today is Infantino to be kicked out of FIFA. Do you know what I think with FIFA, the corruption with FIFA, the Premier League, and all the charges against City? Is it just time for I think football needs to clean itself up a lot. Like we know there's a huge amount of money influxed into the game over the last sort of 20, 30 years. And unfortunately, with lots of money coming into the game, there's more corruption, more bullshit. It's just, I think for a lot of football fans now, I'm seeing like fans of like Leicester City, their team gets relegated to League One and they apparently broke the rules. We see Nottingham Forest get points deductions and Everton get points deductions and we're seeing that Man City just break the rules. Chelsea admit to breaking the rules and they get a token fine, which is a fraction of like what they've gained from breaking the rules. It's just starting to take the piss, isn't it? And I think it's starting to make more and more fans just frustrated with what's happening as well. A big up to you, Jeff. Good to see you. There might be a stream tonight, but I'll have to see. I'm not sure if I got guests or available, but I might do a solo stream if there's some news. If there is something coming out, I don't want to do the same sort of stream. Like I'm not going to do ZIRKZEE Gone if that happens, but if there is like a some sort of stream or some information out there you think will be viable to do a live stream, I'll do something around 8-ish o'clock tonight. Maybe we could do like a call-in show if people are interested. But Scott says, is coming below third failure this year? I would say, given what's happened and Man United, the way we dropped to 15th was so unacceptable. And then coming back to get third next season, I think if Man United can say, I think if we got fourth or fifth and we're way, I think the difficulty is like Scott. It depends on what happens with the teams a bit, doesn't it? If we see like some teams put in astronomical performance, it depends how close Man United are to the points total. If we're accruing less points next season, I think it's got to be a disappointment. If Man United can improve the amount of points, reduce the amount of goals we're conceding, try and keep scoring more goals, and if those kind of metrics improve, and Man United also manage to put in a good Champions League campaign, I think finishing like last season, finishing third, fourth, fifth, it depends. If Man United finish fifth, for example, with a couple more points than we had last season, a better defensive record, better goal difference, and we get to the knockout stage of the Champions League, I don't know. I don't think it can be considered failure. If Man United suddenly find themselves in the Europa League, I think that for me, it's difficult to answer the question because the Champions League is a massive factor, isn't it? Like having an extra 10 games puts so much more pressure on the squad depth, the decisions that Carrick can make. He can't just have his best team every single match. He will have to use players that maybe out of position a bit, maybe like pull on bench options or academy options a little bit more than we'd like to see. So I think the Champions League is this massive factor, isn't it? And that's why I'm getting a bit annoyed because it feels a bit like everybody knows the Champions League is going to be a huge factor, and that's why our depth needs to be better than it was last season. That's why we need a third midfielder. That's why we need a new left back or an extra left back, and that's why we have to assume that De Ligt's injured, Agate's injured, Luke Shaw is just one player that's very injury prone. So we kind of need to get these players in just to mitigate the extra games. And also, we're not going to play one FA Cup match and one League Cup match, surely. Surely. With only 26 days remaining in the transfer window, two midfielders, backup goalkeeper acquired. Is panicking not appropriate? And so I think it's just. I'll say this: I don't panic because of football, because of like where football is in the context to like important things in life. But in terms of this one, I think it's fair to get frustrated, Gregory, because Man United. It's not like we've seen Man United suddenly pull lots of good deals out at the end of the window. So I think it's fair to say that the energy we had in the end of June, where we go, okay, right, it's the end of June, we've got lots of time. I think people need to start looking now and thinking that the thing that might be really annoying, Gregory, is that Man United might be forced to spend more than they want, but on players they didn't even want in the first place. So it might be that the money we wanted to spend on Matheus Fernandes, we ended up spending exactly the same, but on a player that we didn't really want because we need to get people in. So, and if we take the stance of going, actually, we're going to do no deals instead of panic deals. What if Michael Carrick starts dropping points and starts struggling with like the fixture congestion that might happen? So it's really, really frustrating. Yeah, I might do a poll on the channel and say we will do like a poll at some point. I think it's a bit too early to panic at the moment. To say, yeah, when I saw this, like Lewis Skelly, maybe one to look out for, and maybe I'll see what news comes on. But maybe with this one, I think the club might consider this one as well because he's versatile. Left back, centre midfield. It does give you cover over a couple of positions. That's also, I'll say this. I think Luke Shaw will probably be the first choice left back as things stand. If you get someone like Lewis Skelly, yeah, maybe you see a situation where they may not to go right. Now, some games we're going to be bringing on Lewis Skelly. Some games we're going to be bringing on Luke Shaw. If you've got midfield problems, maybe Skelly. So what I'll do, I'll put a poll. Okay, I'll give you a panic poll in the chat. So let me close this one. So we'll do this as like a snap poll. Couple of minutes to vote on this one, and Danny B says it won't be Carrick's fault if he falls off due to our owners not backing him. I agree. I mean, I'm not. If you watch Red Devil United, say 4 or 5 years ago, and you watch this channel since we restarted, I think most people are not going to be, not going to be calling out the manager if he's not backed properly. So I'll put a time to panic. You can vote yes or no. So I'll put that in time to panic. Last time I did a panic poll, actually, it was before I went on holiday. I think it was maybe like a week to go in July, and the vote in terms of like panic was about, I think one third of people said it was panic time, and I can't remember the exact date, maybe like 20th of July, something like that. We did it, Vincent says, "What do you think of the butcher as us to leave? Has he asked to leave Manchester United and says he will not resign a new contract? He wants out now." If that's true, Vincent, and again, if that's true, if Sandro Martinez has said he's not going to sign a new contract, then I would be looking to sell him. And I'm not sure how long he's got left on his contract, but if he wants to leave Man United, I would sell him, and I would have sold him at 18 months ago because I thought he was playing. It wasn't great. Wasn't playing amazing football, and I think the injury record itself as well. I'm not going to be one of these people that judges anything that happened in the World Cup. Like my decision from Lisandro Martinez was about 18 months ago. I said on Red Devil United, I think Lisandro Martinez, we need to find a better option for Man United. Like he's not good enough and he's not reliable enough. And I think we saw in the World Cup, you could say in the World Cup, we saw Lisandro Martinez did well in some matches, but he was a massive problem for Argentina against Egypt, where he was culpable for a couple of goals in that match. So I think his errors ultimately are a problem as well. So I'd sell him, Vincent. I don't know what you think. If he wants to leave, let him leave. Like I've seen better players leave Man United. Like Gary Pallister was a better football player, and Steve Bruce were better players for Man United than Lisandro Martinez has ever been. And we moved out Yapstam, and he's. Have I not set a poll? I thought I set a poll in the chat. There is a poll in the chat. At the moment, it's on no 55%. So I'll let it run for another couple of minutes. I think Cake is too busy panicking. Wizard Bear says Lisandro Martinez has not said he wants to leave Manchester United, nor has he stated he will refuse to sign a new contract. So the rumours circulating on social media stems from fake transfer reports. So I'll say Wizards are better though. Thanks for clarifying the situation. My stance is still the same though. I would still be looking to sell Lisandro Martinez, whether he wants to stay or not. But maybe it's going to be pretty difficult now. He's not going to be wanting to leave. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, definitely. It could be on agenda settings, couldn't it? Could be. But it maybe though. I think that this is probably that sort of account is obviously trying to gain traction. But I think Lisandro Martinez, to be fair to Man United, we should be looking to move Lisandro Martinez and Maguire on at some point, and De Ligt. We need to get better players into our team. So no. Okay, so if you want to vote on the panic poll, you've got like another 30 seconds. At the moment, it's getting a bit of a split. So slightly more panic than there was a few weeks ago, but not crazy panic. So let's close this one. So in terms of this one, then is it panic time for Manchester United fans? Only 45% of people say yes today. So yeah, not a lot of panic going on at the moment. I think there's been, I would say regarding this one that some of the, if you see a lot of fake stuff, yeah, just try and check it out because we don't want to put out fake information. So, no, with this one, I think there's a lot of fake information being spread, which isn't helpful as well. And I will say this as well: a lot of stuff that happened in the World Cup has led to some quite aggressive comments from certain people regarding anyone that plays football for a certain country. I think that as Man United fans, that there's going to be a lot of players in and around the club, and as long as they're a Manchester United player, I think a lot of people should be backing the players to perform for Man United. But I think that I would say with Alessandro Martinez, like beyond the World Cup, like over a year ago, before he got his last injury, I was saying I think he's done a good job for Man United overall. But I think Man United they just need to raise the bar. Um, no, to be honest, I'll say this: like I haven't seen Lucky Singh for a while, but the last time I saw him, he told me he was gonna. I think said he was getting annoyed. Well, put it this way: I did a stream, and the title of the stream was "Is the Edison deal going to collapse due to the medical?" So you can find the stream. It was probably about a few weeks ago, and as I did the stream, I think it was myself and I think Helgi joined, and we did the stream. And I think midway through the stream, it was announced by I can't remember who it was now. It might have been Ornstein, but it was announced that the which deal was it? It was announced that Edison deal fell through. So I think on this channel we're trying not to do any clickbait. I think Lucky thought we were trying to hype up stories that weren't true, but it was true. There was a lot of skepticism about the medical, and yeah, it just fell through. Yeah, all I'm saying, Tyrone. All I'm saying is my view on Lissandro Martinez was like set before. It's not to do. My view on him was like as a football player, I think Man United need better. But I'm just trying to be neutral regarding this one as well. Uh, Debas says just panic by Belieber. No, we might. Maybe that's going to be the case. Maybe Belieber will be like the backup option, but yeah. If anyone's got any comments, final comments. I will say with this one, I think the Xerxes deal, maybe we're going to be seeing, maybe it's going to be disappointing. Maybe with Xerxes, we are going to be having a loan with an option. And if it is 28 million, I hope it's an obligation because an option to buy would just be just frustrating, wouldn't it? Really frustrating as well. Yeah, just to agree with Chris as well, that my view on Lissandro Martinez, if you watch Red Devil United, probably about it might have been about a month before he got injured last, and I said I think Man United need to like Lissandro Martinez is good on the ball. He's got some good attributes, but in the air defensively, he's not great. And when it comes to what's the other thing? When it comes to other attributes, he was poor against Egypt. He's made mistakes for Man United. I think we just need to get a better football player. That's that's my view on it. Cake, you've missed a you've missed a stream that you would have really enjoyed then because there is no toxic positivity, um, and toxic positivity is not even a thing, is it? If you want to be positive in life, be positive. You want to find the positive sides of things. You can find it if you look for it, but there's no way we're going to be trying to what's the word? We're not going to try and feed you a load of shit and tell you it's like a nice bag of sweets from um, like Woolworths Pick and Mix style. No, at the moment as it stands, there's not a lot of positivity around Man United. Players that leave the club are going for very small fees or they're being loaned out. The players coming into the club, they just don't seem to be materialising, do they? So, I mean, I like Michael Carrick. I think Michael Carrick did a good job. I just think you need to just. I think Michael Carrick just needs to get some help from the owners, and yeah, maybe in a couple of weeks' time we can have a conversation and go, oh, they did some good deals in the end after all. But as things stand, if the window closed, it wouldn't be great, would it? It wouldn't be great. I think my valuation of I suppose maybe this way the best way of putting it is my evaluation of Ineos is going to be determined by league position and trophies. So we have to see. BLT cake, but we're going to have to wrap up now. There might be a stream earlier tonight, and we did a panic poll. You missed it, cake. So yeah, as convention on this channel, 55% of people voted that there was no panic. So officially, there's no panic at the moment, but we will address this situation maybe the start of next week as well. If anyone's interested in like cake, you always like say a lot of things in the comments, and I give you loads of opportunities to come on the channel to speak. Why don't you come on and have your say? Like have your say, anything you want to say, it's fine. Like we've had a lot of people come on over the last sort of few weeks as guests, and we've had lots of people come on as guest hosts as well. Just come on and have your say. Like if it's your opinion, that you can't be wrong, can you? If it's your opinion, that's what you think. Just come and say it. Um, but no, thanks everybody as well. Big up to the moderators and special thanks to people like Bilal when he was a moderator and Jim and Cody and Rob for doing a great job. Because I've seen a few other YouTube channels, and there's a few accounts we blocked on here and I think that it's made the comment section a lot better as well to have everybody in the comments that's putting sensible stuff we can use in there. So big thanks to the moderators on the channel. I think we're making this channel a more fun place to discuss football. I will say this as well, that I'm not expecting people to agree with me all the time, and hopefully you don't disagree with every single thing I say, in which case would make me question why you why you turn up. But just appreciate that people will have different views and opinions, and at this point in time, some people are going to be positive about where we can go with the rest of the transfer window. Some people, like I'm starting to lean towards the side of, time is ticking. We need to get some business done because Michael Carrick needs some options for a busy schedule next season. So I'm getting a bit frustrated with what's happening. But just appreciate that people have different views and different opinions as well. The same way that Cake, Cadet, and Jeff and myself and everybody else in the comments has different views as well. And yeah, I mean, George said that he might join a call-in show after he's kind of been in around the channel a bit more. Like George has been taking a bit of a sabbatical. Maybe he's been on a holiday, refreshing himself. But yeah, no, I think maybe we could be looking at definitely getting a few more people on. But big up to everybody in the chat, and it might be a live stream tonight. Cake, people's opinions always change, but also there's new people watching would be interested to hear your opinion. But it's up to you. The invitation is always open. And but everybody, thank you for watching. Exactly. But big up to you, legends in the chat. There might be a live stream tonight. I'll have to see if we can do it. But anyone that wants to come on, we will try and do more calling shows. It's just I'm trying to work out what the best thing to do is. We don't want to do a stream for the sake of doing a stream, but I need to head off now. But if there is a stream tonight, it might be dependent on whether there's actually some news. But if you're on the Discord or on Facebook or on Twitter, then just tag me in any news story you see, and we'll try and do something if there's some good news out there. But then, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you guys in the next one.